Hey guys, and now with March Madness around the corner, I thought I would talk about something very important, March Madness. Now, that's why we're doing the NBA gameplay, but now, March Madness, get your brackets filled out by Friday noon. At least that's according to the bracket I used. Anyways, I signed up through ESPN, and we're going to go over our bracket picks. Now, number one, we're going to go first game, Gonzaga versus Norfolk or Appalachian. Now, I picked Gonzaga, win that. No surprise. Next up, Oklahoma, Missouri. We picked Oklahoma to win. Yeah, again, not much of a surprise there, but I'm not predicting many upsets this year. Sadly, we're not going to be seeing anything too spectacular. Next up, we are going to be talking about Creighton and USCB. Ah, crap. Anyways, Creighton and USCB, we're talking about them. So we have Creighton winning that one. Now, I know. Now, if you have any different opinions, just leave in comments. Next up, Virginia versus Ohio. We're going to pick Virginia. I was thinking Ohio, but Virginia is going to be the final call here. All right. Next up, number 6 USC versus Wichita and Drake. I am predicting an upset with Wichita or Drake winning that game. Next up, Kansas versus East Washington. We're going to pick Kansas winning the game there pretty easily. Number 3 versus a 14th seed. Yeah, again, not many surprises. That can happen there. Next game up is Oregon versus VCU. Now, this game, we picked Oregon, number 7 seed, who is playing VCU, the number 10 seed. Next up, we're going to be talking about Iowa versus Grand Canyon. Now, that's going to be a good game, number 2 versus 15. I'm predicting a Grand Canyon upset here. Yeah, again, I have to predict a couple of upsets. That's just the laws of March Madness. But could be wrong, and I mean, hopefully I'm right. I want to get a perfect bracket this year. Yeah, again, never done before, but I hope I can. All right, now we're going to go on to the next round, which is Gonzaga versus Oklahoma, number 1 versus number 8. Obviously, Gonzaga is going to win that game. Pretty easy, pretty easy guess there. Next up, Creighton versus Virginia. We're going to predict a small upset of Creighton winning against Virginia. Next up, Wichita / Drake versus Kansas. Now we're expecting Kansas to win that one pretty easily, putting them in a nice position to hopefully to move on to the next round. Next up, Oregon versus Grand Canyon. That's where Grand Canyon's luck streak runs out, and we have Oregon winning. Now, the reason I had Grand Canyon winning first is apparently 1/3 of the 15 seeds have won in the last 10 years, so we're going to assume one of them at least has to. All right, on to the Sweet 16 version for the Northeast. Sweet 16, we have Gonzaga versus Creighton. I have Gonzaga winning that one pretty easily. And then next up, we have Kansas versus Oregon. I'm expecting Kansas to come away with the win there. Number 3 versus a number 7 seed. Not much of a surprise there for who's expected to come out on top. But So finally, Elite 8, we have Gonzaga beating Kansas. Much of a surprise, and that is as far as we could go for the first part. Next part, Michigan, number 1 Michigan versus number 16 MSN or Texas. Now, I'm expecting Michigan to come out on top easy. 16 seed has only beat a 1 seed once ever. So Michigan. Next game, number 8 LSU versus number 9 St. Bonaventure. Number 8 LSU coming out on top is the prediction here. And yeah, again, this is gonna be a good game, I think. I can't wait to watch. Tomorrow is the get-in games, so yeah, again, those don't matter for your bracket much, but you know what, they might. Next up is Number 5, Colorado versus number 12, Georgetown. Now, I'm predicting Colorado will come out on top pretty easily. Next up, number 4, Florida State Seminoles versus UNC Green. Now, it's a pretty easy choice. Florida State on top. Next up, BYU versus MSU. Obviously, going to have to go with BYU here. Great elite school in almost all programs. I feel like that should be an easy win on number 6 over 11. Now, number 3, Texas versus number 14. Now, 14 statistically recently have been more likely to win those types of games, but I am expecting number 3, Texas, to come out on top. Oh my god, I can't see it. Alright, next up, UConn versus Maryland. That's another close game. I'm predicting UConn to come out on top over Maryland. Yeah, again, number 7 versus number 10. Not expecting an upset, though. Finally, Alabama versus Iona. Now, I'm expecting Alabama to win it, obviously. Number 2 seed in the whole not in the whole tournament. In their division. Pretty easy win, hopefully, for them. Yeah, again, only 1/3 of 15's win, so the odds are against it if the other team is to win. All right, now on to the round of 32. We have Michigan versus LSU. I'm predicting the upset here. LSU winning that game, number 8. Next up, Colorado versus Florida State. Obviously, got to go with Florida State. I'm not a huge Seminoles fan, but I do expect great things from them moving on in this tournament. Next up, BYU versus Texas. I'm expecting BYU to win that game. Going to be a really good close game, but BYU is going to pull off a little bit of an upset there and come out on top. Finally, UConn versus Alabama. Obviously going to have to go with Alabama there. Number 2 seed versus number 7. Not much of a competition. Sweet 16. I expect there to be LSU versus Florida State, and I expect Florida State to come out on top. Now, that's going to be or LSU. I expect LSU to come out on top, pull off an upset. Sorry, guys. Next up, BYU versus Alabama. I'm expecting Bama to come out on top. Sadly, BYU's run will end there, but they will have something to feel accomplished about, beating both Texas and MSU. Finally, LSU, Alabama. I expect Alabama to go on in the Elite 8 to win it and go on to the championship, or into the round of 4, Final 4. Next one, Baylor and Hartford. I'm gonna have to pick Baylor on this one. Yeah, again, a number 1 seed versus number 16 seed. Don't know what you expect. Baylor has come out on top. North Carolina versus Wisconsin. Gonna go with North Carolina. Now, here's why. I mean, yeah, again, it's not much of a I'm picking Wisconsin. Wisconsin, yeah, again, not much of a competition. The Badgers, pretty good team. Sorry, guys, I'm flustered. I'm trying to play the game, too. But, yeah. Wisconsin on top. Next up, Villanova, Winthrop. I'm expecting Villanova to come out on top. They had a really good season this season. I feel like they could easily come out on top of that game. Next up, North Texas versus Purdue. I'm expecting the upset with North Texas. Now, Purdue's really good basketball school, so don't be too surprised if I'm wrong there, but I have a good feeling about North Texas and their skills this season. Next up, Texas Tech versus Utah State. I am expecting Texas Tech to come on top. Really good program, and I expect them to have a pretty easy win for them there. Next up, Arkansas versus Colgate. I'm expecting Arkansas to come out on top, mostly because Colgate sounds like the toothpaste. So yeah, we're not gonna have toothpaste winning here. Sorry, Colgate, but you're not winning a game. Next up is gonna be Florida versus Virginia Tech. I'm expecting Florida to come out on top here. Both schools have very good teams, but I think Florida's slightly got the better team. And for Florida comes out on top. Finally, Ohio State versus Oral Roberts. Any team with the name Oral in it just means one thing: blowjobs. And they're about to give Ohio State a blowjob because Ohio State's gonna fucking win it. Ohio State, number 2 seed in the whole tournament, and I honestly think they're gonna easily come away with a win there. Now, on to the next group of games, this round of 32. Baylor versus Wisconsin. I'm expecting what's it called? All right, I'm expecting Baylor to come out on top pretty easily. Number 1 versus number 9. Next up, Villanova, North Texas. I'm expecting Villanova to come out on top. Yeah, again, have another nice game. Texas Tech versus Arkansas. We're expecting Texas Tech to come out on top. A little bit of an upset, both with Wisconsin and, yeah. Finally, Florida, Ohio State. Ohio State moving on. Next up, Baylor versus Villanova. I am calling this the end of Baylor's run, as Villanova is going to win the game. Next up is then Texas Tech at Ohio State. Ohio State going to win that game and send home the Texas Tech team, which leaves us with Villanova and Ohio State, which we all know the overall better team is Ohio State, number 2 seed, giving them the Final Four spot in my bracket. Oh my god. Final main part is Illinois versus Drexel, Illinois. Loyola Chicago versus Georgia. I'm expecting Loyola. Yeah, again, last Sweet 16 they did pretty good. So I'm expecting them to do it, not last 16, last time they did pretty good, so I'm expecting them to do that again. Tennessee versus Oregon State. I'm expecting Tennessee to come out on top. Oklahoma versus Liberty, Oklahoma. San Diego versus Syracuse, San Diego, of course. West Virginia versus Moorhead, West Virginia. Clemson versus Rutgers. We're expecting Clemson to come out on top. And Houston, Cleveland, Houston coming out on top. Next up, Illinois, Loyola. Sorry, Loyola, but Illinois is going to win. Next up, we have Tennessee and Oklahoma. That's going to be a Oklahoma victory. A close game, but it has to be Oklahoma. Next up, we have San Diego versus West Virginia. We are going to give that to West Virginia. Clemson, Houston. We're going to have to give that game to Clemson. And then finally, we got Illinois and Oklahoma. We're going to have to give that to Illinois. And then West Virginia versus Clemson, West Virginia. And we're going to have Illinois winning that their kind of, tournament seed. Anyways, so Illinois goes on Final Four. Now, Final Four, as I remind you, is Gonzaga, Alabama, Ohio State, Illinois. Now, I'm expecting Alabama to pull off the upset against Gonzaga, taking their way up to the championship, and Ohio State to upset Illinois because they only lost by 3 in their last game, leading Ohio State to the championship. Alabama versus Ohio State. I have the final score 89-83. Drum roll, please. Ohio State. Now, if you have any questions about my bracket or any suggestions, please let me know down below, and I will. I'll try and answer them. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all after the first round.